Hi, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you guys? I Today's share what's come through was mid-April, next wave. Energy shifts and karma. So this is sort of like a weird angle, but one thing that I'm aware of when it comes to our personal healing and like forgiveness is like to detach and understand karma, like basically law of attraction, and knowing that all of us in this like awakening journey is like shedding the bullshit. And like if we know that there's like situations we've had to flee or hi Daniel son, how are you? Yeah, if we've known there's situations we've had to flee or heal from or yeah, just sort of like break free from enslavement or emotional abuse or perversion or whatever it is, with all of these cycles that we've been through and the healing throughout the cycles, we're still asking ourselves to like forgive the past. And for me, it's really in this forgiveness of the past and outworking that every single one of us kind of has to face the shit and go through some of the shit. I guess I'm saying this maybe because there can be such a huge amount of pain that I'm aware of the driving force that things like bitterness and jealousy can create in us. And it ain't never pretty, you guys. You know, like our things we do to one another from a place of jealousy or bitterness or revenge or whatever, it's always going to be really painful and hurtful. And somebody who's clearing that level of energy from her beingness in owning and taking responsibility for my own self-denial. Hi, Aphrodite, for my own self-betrayal. You know, for basically all the pain and suffering that I've endured and lived and created in my life and or past life and or through soul contract. It's like being washed clean, being karmically washed clean after all these many years of owning and transforming my emotions, my emotional patterns of shame and guilt. I would say that shame and guilt are like the bottom feeding emotions that keep us all locked and enslaved. For me personally, and it took many cycles, and in some of the storms, it would be days on end of feeling like I was walking through tar, a swamp of shame and disgusting guilt, you lowly human sinner, you know. And yeah, so it's like once we can start to really uproot, clear, clean, transform shame and guilt, you could say that we're on our way. We're on our way to greater healing and also greater vulnerability. The weird thing is that actually our shame and guilt, the reason they're so like sabotagey and destructive is that they keep us from exposing the truth. They keep us from, because we're ashamed of it. We're ashamed of it and we're fucking guilty. And so we have all these different tactics to kind of protect ourselves from being exposed to that underlying shame. And the weirdest thing about doing this work is that once we get the other side of the storm, once we've plummeted into our own healing, every cycle does get easier. I say that with a bit of like, I don't know if that's true, because there's also a polarity of the more you heal, the more sensitive you become. So increasingly you're much more aware and sensitive to other people's energy and also like the matrix energy, so you're just more responsible for the self. But what does get easier is the process. What does get easier is this new way of being where you take responsibility for your emotions and You don't go around pointing fingers and blaming and attacking and rallying the troops to get on side, to go on a witch hunt, to go, you just deal with your shit. You just deal with, and this is where it's like the straight up truth, and like where, again, people much more invested in duality would find it incredibly like, no, you can't just da-da-da, but like, literally, you can just forgive anything and anyone inside yourself. You don't need other people's permission to heal. You don't need other people's validation. You don't need other people to believe you. You don't need, like, and that's the thing about manifestation. We don't need other people's permission to be who we are. And yet, I know that when I went through different cycles, I unconsciously attracted into my life people that represented my mother, people that represented my father, people that represented my sister at different trajectories in my life when I was taking leaps and sort of like grasping on to these figures to be like, is it okay? Am I allowed? Can I be this person? Can I be this way? Can I da 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 da? And so often there would come a point where I'm like grasping on, and they would just kind of like, they would kind of push me out of their lives, and or stuff would come up and it would just go blah, 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 and I'd bounce out of the relationship because it wasn't ultimately healthy. Why? Because I was looking to these external beings for my validation, my approval. And I already knew what I was doing inside. And usually when we're coming into a relationship from a place of need, at some point, what it's going to turn, and that's hence the empath and narcissist, at some point it's going to turn into like a kind of destructive. So when I go into a need, there's going to be control. So that person is going to be using you, basically. If you've been needy and be like, I'll do anything for you because I'm a lonely servant, because I don't have enough or whatever. I need you to validate. I need you to support. I need you to provide, whatever. And so from that place of unworthiness and neediness, usually, in my experience, the unconscious overlay patterns of people that I've brought into my reality, there was always some weird control and domination thing going on. Like they'd want me to stick around forever, or they would kind of be friendly and helpful as long as, I kind of did it their way. But if I tried to talk about this, and I straight up, money is like a huge thing for people. And I say that because I've been through so much with it, and I've like I've worked through, and it's not just my own personal financial relationship, but it's like the banking system and the global economy as a whole that I've like faced in different times in my life, and just been like, you don't got no power over me, because I can see through the falseness and I can see the inherent criminality in it from a pure divine place. So I'm like, okay, like, okay, I'll just be so scared from your letters. Ooh. But in my truth, I'm like, no, they're a service. So they work for us, really. We have to remember that the banks and the councils and those people, they work for us, not the other way around. So I make a conscious choice to never feel threatened by the somewhat threatening letters that the council or different bodies send through. I just sort of laugh it off, because it's the legit truth of, in an enslavement system, I'm like, okay, like you'll get what you need when you get what you need, or you'll get what you get, but like not bending into the, oh God, we all have these charges of these things, and be like, fuck that, like there's no point. There's no point in being too worried about any of that. Okay, guys, guess what? That brings me back to today's share, karma. So every single human on the path at some point awakening to the divine truth of our birthright, like of our divine birthright, as we continue to awaken to that. Every human, people in the teaching profession, people in the banking world, lawyers and doctors, and everybody, as this awakening continues, everybody's going to have to face their own karma. And this is why we shan't ever judge a book by its cover, because and that's where the law of attraction stuff is a big pile of bullshit for many people, because there's it's an overlay of the archon grid to make people be like, yeah, manifestation, da 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 da. And that is true. However, there's a lot of privilege in the world of law of attraction, manifestation, and celebrity worship in the online world. So there's a lot of falseness there as well. And to me, the big crux is like, is the imbalanced structure of a false economy, which tends to kind of fuck up with the heart of what manifestation is for the liberation and emancipation of humanity. And this is something probably some law of attraction practitioners don't talk about. We don't talk about like the inherent falseness of the matrix system and the grid system and the hologram, the draconian and or the reptilian hologram that we've all bought into. We all sold our soul to that system. So reclaiming our soul is a spiritual endeavor that we do from within the heart space. And of course, the mind, our ability to stay in the presence of our light, right? Hi, Charlene. Good morning. And the fact that we're all talking here tells me that we've reached a certain point in our own karma, which is scratching the surface of liberation. So as we continue to liberate ourselves, we shine the light for other souls, but we have to bear in mind and hold space and be compassionate for the fact that souls are at different places in their karmic cycles. So again, and then this is where I'm going back to law of attraction, manifestation, and money. And abundance, so-called, is that abundance really doesn't have anything to do with how much stuff you have. Abundance is a state of being. Not to deny your ability to manifest the stuff that you want and that you need, because that is the glory of God, you could say, is your ability to do that and to not be vibrating lack. But depending on our point of attraction and depending on our mish, it might not be a quick fix. It might not be like an instantaneous, although I had a really weird moment yesterday out of the blue. So these little things, I don't know if any of you girls out there or boys with long hair, these are hair baubles, obviously, like hair ties, right? And the reason they're all like windy like that is that I think these are meant to be good for like not that it matters with my hair because it's already purely kinked, but like these hair baubles are really good for not kinking your hair. If you've got quite straight hair and you put it up, you can take it out of this bubble and it doesn't leave like an elastic mark, basically. But as you know, I dye my hair and I have a kind of like a golden hair. And this is like back in my professional performance days as a dancer, where not that kind of dancer, you guys, professional children's like modern dance. Da, 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 da. I know people with us weird girls in like the modern dance company, people at high school would just be like, there's this one piece called The Lost Children about like child abduction. And like there was only about, I think maybe like 11 or 12 of us young women in this dance company. And there was a young boy. And we would have like basically international choreographers come and work with us for like intensives. And then by the end of the intensive, we'd have like a new dance piece that we would go on tour and or we'd like be guests at certain festivals and we'd perform these dance pieces by these renowned choreographers. And one of them was like The Lost Children. And like there was a moment where the whole dance company, like all 12 of us, we look to one corner and then we run in like, I don't know if you know modern dance, but you don't run like this. You run like, da, and your legs, you're like, I don't know, so random story. But you run. We ran to the corner of the stage and then you look to the audience, like all 12 of us at the same time, look to the audience and yell, fire! I don't know why that is coming back to me. Hello, karma. Look, my face is red. I'm totally embarrassed. But yeah, I was in a dance company and that was one of the pieces and I'm having a memory of it. I could probably actually remember some of the like little sequences from the dance. That reminds me, alongside setting up a couple of dance classes, yoga classes locally, I totally want to set up some dance classes in this town as well. I don't know why. I suddenly feel like super delirious and like excitable. Fortunately, I've got my notes. Fortunately, I've got my notes so I can like stay on topic. Oh, well, next wave, basically. So increasingly, so I've talked in the last couple days of an acceleration manifestation. Sometimes I'm like annoyed at myself saying these things. I'm like, ugh, who cares about any of it anymore? Just go be free. um, so these waves are going to be quicker. You guys might start to experience releases, transformations, processes, and what's the other word people like that I don't like? Purging, emotional purging. There might be an acceleration of the time loops, i.e., instead of having emotional sort of upheavals every week or once a week, you might start to see an increase and yet a container. And by that, I mean that you're just getting better at holding space for your emotional upheavals and clearings and transformations. Then what happens is that you get better. As you get better at holding space, the awarenesses that are coming through are going to help shift things quicker because there's more people doing this work. So there's more awakenings happening in the collective, which is bringing the karma around, which is really cleaning out. So if you imagine there's one wave of consciousness which has cleansed its karmic loops, which are just negative cycles going round and round unconsciously. And those of us endeavoring to be conscious manifestors have been clearing all this fucking bullshit karma. So now we're more, we're more aware, we're more awake, we're more enlightened. And then through that presence, i.e., words don't teach, vibrashe does. So as we just embody more of that clear, creative, like open source energy, once we just embody that, it's undeniable. And then more beings, more beings, more beings. And then also we have like an understanding. Hi, Eddie, how are you? Oh, did I even say that, Daniel? Well done. Well done picking up on that. Because that has been a huge theme for me, especially this year, because I've taken one more fucking leap. No, well, yeah, I did. And like another leap, which then, yeah, really, I'm getting pretty good at surfing, which makes me think like I do have to go surfing at some point this week. I don't have to go. I want to go because I've been borderline in depression for the last 3 months. So, and depression to me, depression is almost par for the course if you're living in, I would say, transformational energy, because you just have to swim down. You have to let the wheel of fortune go make full circle. You have to allow yourself time to process and heal and rest and let go after being part of a fucking machine, a slave machine for however long, right? It's going to take a little recalibration. And so giving yourself a few weeks or even a few months to just rest and sleep and be calm and be chill and be okay about it, right? I don't know. Robin, we keep expanding. Yeah, I think there's a perpetual expansion and contraction in our creative outpouring. It doesn't end. There's no beginning and no end. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? And self-care has been a huge, thanks, Charlene, bring me back on topic a little. Self-care has been a huge part of foundationally anchoring in our ability to hold space for the next wave and the next wave. I'm hearing as well, just be mindful of those for you that are really sensitive, that we're energetically getting impact from the hive mind and from the masses. So depending on where your proclivity to sensitivity is, or what do I mean by that? Like, depending on how your sensitivities are feedbacking off of the environment, and also how expanded your light bubble is, you can be often clearing and picking up on trauma energy that's being released from part of the collective mass that surrounds you. Certainly, if there's any like big trauma stuff that happens or natural disasters and stuff, you can often feel the souls that are like departing or shocked. And sometimes in my awareness, again, like this is stuff I'm not at all an expert and even don't talk a lot about, but often because of our state of like forgetfulness or lostness, often when there's large groups of souls that leave or like leave the body, i.e. they die, they something happens, but it's trauma, it's like shocking or trauma based. And so there's no, like if there's an illness, we can kind of prepare for death, or obviously if it's suicide, there is a choice on a certain level from that soul to go away. So there is an intention of sorts, although there's a huge spectrum when it comes to suicide. And I say that because some suicides are very much a choice. Other ones are, again, born out of fear and panic. And so there's a huge kind of way to look at that. But more specifically, which would impact the sensitive a little bit more, is when huge disasters happen, which then almost in a little bit of like spiritual chaos, these souls are like, what happened? Where am I? What do I do? And so oftentimes beings of light, so like Charlene, I'm feeling that like sometimes we can actually kind of feel or be impacted by the souls, because you're like a light beacon, the souls can kind of gravitate. And then what you have to remember to do is like permission their freedom, and that they don't have to follow the light, they can go wherever they want to go. And so remember to permission the total free will of all souls, the total I want to say like the freedom to leave this realm if that's a choice. And then there's a lot of random downloads that I'm getting about like multidimensionality, how that feels, what that looks like, and I would say the potential for like confusion and manipulation around some of these like new paradigm energetic techniques, including like the tantra and the sex stuff. I'm aware that lots of people are really getting triggered right now as well, so just give yourself as much space as you need to like basically just take care of yourself, and to be really aware of people's reactions, that it's not necessary, it's probably very little to do with you and more to do with whatever is coming up for them. Again, our most powerful tactic, you could say, for moving through the energies is just to, hey Amit, we're live, my friend, you didn't miss nothing, you didn't miss nothing. Respect their decision to leave. Yeah, precisely, right? So it's like having a lot of love, having a lot of empathy, but taking no shit. It's that kind of thing. Like still ultimately be in the primary relationship of the heart center. It's that which is the centered silence of the void. We can drop even deeper. I've been sharing this now for a couple days about primary color. The primary color is really our most powerful energetic points, which makes sense to me because of the historical imprint of sexual shame and denial. So actually the root chakra is weirdly, this is totally new to me, but this is just what I'm hearing. The root chakra is actually the most important chakra point in the physical body. And it's the most important only at this point because it's been so denied and feared. But it is the ultimate vortexual point of our creative center. Everything else you wanted to line up there. However, because we live in that hierarchical system, that is a hierarchical perspective. The truth is we know there ain't no better or worse in truth. It's only because we've flipped it around. Now we have to flip it back. So we have to drop right down. We have to reclaim our sexual power. We have to reclaim the sovereignty that we own in our bodies, and then begin to project into the field our desired manifested body, our desired manifested relationships, and our desired manifested creative reality. However, what I'm experiencing is that money has to be completely out of the equation. You only are working with the regenesis. You're only working with your creative power, and then taking in what you need to take in, right? Hi, tree hugger. How are you? I love it. Love it, you guys. I feel like that's it today. I want to meditate basically and just like drop in to the hot love bush. And I've got a new community yoga class. And the community yoga class I'm really excited about. I've only actually been living in this community for coming up to a year at the end of April. And after last year, I'm finally like where I didn't know where I was going to be from one day to the next, and I was traveling a heck of a lot, right? And now I'm here, and this is what I mean about like perspective shifts and perspective shifts. I'm gonna finish with a story. Hi, Tree Hugger Dave. I'm so happy when you guys can be here live, guys. Did I finish my elastic band story? Because this was all about perspective, eh? Oh, perspective and manifestation, and this idea that you can only see something like when you're ready to see it. So I have golden hair. I definitely never finished, did I? And back in my dancing days, where I obviously got sidetracked, part of our like the rule for like being on stage, being a performer was one, you have to wear like crazy makeup, and then two, our dance teacher would ask us to have, now this one wouldn't really work as well because it's actually kind of shiny, but our hair elastic had to match the color of our hair. So the blondies had blonde. I was usually brunette, in fairness. Anywho, I've had this. I've had this one for ages. You guys can see a lot of dancer and yoga type people always have elastic bands on their arms because we like to be able to put our hair up at any time. And I had lost my golden one ages ago. No idea where the hell it went. It just vanished from my wrist. And for yonks, I just was using this one. So out of the blue yesterday, I start to think about my golden one. Like, so I have this and I was like, I wonder where that golden one went. So it popped into my mind, right? And yesterday, whilst getting out of the shower, sorry for the intimate details, but for some reason, normally I like put my oils on. I'm just like standing up out the shower. And for some fucking weird reason, yesterday I got out of the shower and I sat like this. And I'm like squatting down, putting my oil on. And then guess what I saw from this squatting position, which I just would not have been able to see. Oh, they. I'm like squatting and then I look under the sink cabinet. And then there she blows. I'm like, ah! And then, so here's the nougat, the nugget, the juicy wisdom nugget was I was like, oh my God, it's just all perspective. I thought I lost this thing. I just couldn't see it because of the angle that I was sitting, but it was always there. And then that just makes you think of like all of life is always here all the time. We just bought into this linear perspective that made us think we're supposed to get somewhere, but we're already all here, like all the time. We just are and then I'm sure I shared this with one of you this morning already, like Leaf or something, about like fuckadoodles. Like we're already here, it's already done. I forget now. Well, anywho. Oh, brilliant. I literally am like here. And then I'm just seeing messages come through on email. Oh, brilliant. And then everything has been received, which is fantastic. It is a wonderful time to be alive, right? Pretty intense, fairly like high, like full throttle intensity. But yeah, I just thought it's all in our perspective. it's all about the angle with which we're looking at things. We have the ability to look at things from all different angles, getting a lot of like insight around colors and of course this perspective stuff. So I'm kind of yeah, just on flow and wanting to keep sharing. Yeah, I'm still dealing with my some like certain things that I will bring to the fore when I'm ready. By the way, high maintenance times. Interesting. Feel free to share more on that. I want to see, like I'm having like brain farts because I just like I keep thinking something and then it like goes away. Magical moment of now, exactly. And like it's all there is. And I know we do know this, but like I think, oh yeah, that's what I was saying to one of you this morning. Is that like our so often, and I totes res with this, but like I feel like sometimes our intellect, like because we've so overworked our logical intellect mind, it's like sometimes a curse. Like just thinking, yes, thinking, and I'm like, meh. Like mostly our thoughts are actually just, yeah, you know, like they're extensions. Hence these channels. Hence sharing more of like sharing these intuitive insights is like plucking new thought vibration, right? Because we're not anchored in the old world. We're not like talking about the systems that have already been created. We're here going, well, that's not quite working for as many people as we would like the world to serve. So let's focus on like how do we serve more people, right? And all I need is a community that says this, living from the heart. Precisely. You guys, we know the truth. Thine is the kingdom. The altar of God is right here. La, 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 la. Virtual hugs. Virtual hugs, you guys. I'm actually like hugging my computer right now. I got some little, I know it's not zero waste at all, but I've said this before, I'm a little bit vain. I got me some teeth whitener. I know I've got pretty good teeth. It's an American thing, but like, oh yeah, classic Canadian American thing. So like all of us, no matter what, get our molars, you know, those big molars at the back of your mouth. We get those yanked out, and we almost all get braces. Like I had pretty straight teeth, but like the doctor was like, this one could be more straight. So we paid them like thousands of dollars to put these metal contraptions in my mouth. But yeah, that's the vanity of life, isn't it? So I keep my teeth white, keep my skin smooth, and keep sharing on YouTube because you guys are like my fave. I honestly effing love you, and I so look forward to new paradigm manifestations shining light for all of humanity to be like, guys, stop hating each other, love yourself so that we can love one another, love the planet back to health, and then just enjoy ourselves. Like, to me, enjoying myself is just having no concerns for the world, wearing bare feet, walking on the grass, and having a dip in a clean water lake when it gets warm. Clean. That's the big thing. A clean water lake, not a polluted plasticky one. And there again, that's all of us. We're responsible. We're the ones who put the plastic in there. We're going to have to take it out and clean up our ways a little bit. I still have wisdom teeth. Oh, do you? See, that's what I mean, Daniel, son. And I have no idea where you're from. In fact, you probably could be American, but like I'm just aware that it's not protocol here in the UK. As in the UK, not all the kids have their wisdom teeth taken out. As in like in back home, certainly in Canada, like all of us, it's like a thing in high school. Like we all are gonna have to take turns having that week off school when our cheeks are all bloated because we've had our 4 teeth yanked out. And then when I came to this country, someone I dated had never had them out. And I was like, why not? And he's like, no, that would cost the government money. We don't do anything like that for free. Oh, wow, you're Canadian. How funny. I guess I'm so off the mark. Clearly I'm off the mark. So yeah, okay, I thought it was just, like a standard thing. Was that a bell? Daniel's son. Oh, okay. Maybe so it's a generational, so maybe that's the generation that had issues, hence, like, slightly younger generation, they were just like, "Just yank them out so they don't cause trouble." However, you can see they don't always cause trouble for people, because I had the same with this British man. He didn't, he didn't need to take him out, right? Charlene. I think this is the sway we're going to continue to see as people awaken. Cleaning up the woods, like, for some reason that makes me like quite touched and like, see, we're doing it, you guys. We're doing it. Anywho, yes, I literally can spend about 10 minutes roughly just trying to say goodbye to you guys. So, wherever you are in the world, I love you so much. And I'm wishing you all just like a super blessed and glorious day. Yeah, and I look forward to having these chats every morning. So, one of you have requested I want to talk more about the green ray beam dream. That was part of my earliest spiritual awakenings and what kind of guided me to travel. And I have no doubt that the green ray is partly symbolic of the heart center of the earth, which is Glastonbury, which is really close to where I live. Really close, as in like maybe an hour and a half's drive. So there's a connection to a heart activation, living from the heart, all to love, and like the new paradigm shift. The green ray basically guided me here. But the green ray is part of, and that's part of like me talking about the primary colors. Every single one of us, you could say, is a ray of light, a ray from the rainbow. And we're here to kind of crystallize the world back into her original rainbow state, or rainbow grid state. Oh, hey, that just came out. I didn't even know what that was. So yeah, we're all pieces of the rainbow, one could say, when it comes to this realm. That's why we look at rainbows, but we're also parts of the stars and parts of the planets and all that stuff. I love you guys. Have an awesome day. Peace out.